Believe me, we take our kidneys for granted. Without them, vital bodily functions such as balancing the body's fluids, filtering waste from your blood, and delivering urine to your bladder via the ureter would be very difficult or even impossible. The kidneys also secrete hormones that stimulate the production of red blood cells in bone marrow. These two bean-shaped sacs are extremely important and reliable organs, although they like to backfire sometimes. One way they like to do so is by allowing the formation of crystallized pebbles within them and having those pebbles cause structural damage to the ureter, bladder, urethra, and itself. These pebbles also sometimes try to make it through the urinary tract and they cause great pain doing so. These pebbles like to go by the name kidney stones. The scientific name for them is renal lithiasis. Basically, due to the crystallization of chemical compounds within the kidneys, these stones grow inside the kidneys until they find their way to the ureter. There are 5 types of kidney stones, 2 of them being derived from calcium, these being calcium oxalate and calcium phosphate stones. These are the most common. The others can be formed from struvite, uric acid, or cysteine. Generally, all stones form due to the amount of crystal-forming substances in your urine being too much to dilute. Calcium oxalate stones are the most common kidney stones. Generally up to 70% of confirmed cases. They develop due to an oversaturation of oxalate in the urine. Oxalate is commonly found in foods such as chocolate and nuts. Even though it's such a great combo, you may not want to have too much chocolate with nuts. Calcium phosphate stones are a little less common, but they still can cause problems. The cause of calcium phosphate stones is a little bit shady, but it's linked to having an above average pH in the urine, around 7. Generally, if your urine is slightly more alkaline than it should be, you may be at a higher chance for these stones. Uric acid stones are far more uncommon. They're caused due to a highly acidic urine of about 5.5 pH. A diet consisting of a lot of purines, especially from meats like beef, poultry, and fish, can increase your risk for uric acid stones. Struvite stones, unlike other kidney stones, are formed due to bacteria in your urinary tract, breaking down urea into ammonia. Urine also has to be somewhat alkaline too, meaning those with urinary tract infections are far more susceptible to struvite stones. Struvite stones are also far more common in other animals like dogs or cats rather than humans. Finally, the least common kidney stones are cysteine stones. Cysteine stones tend to be larger than other stones. They're caused by a disorder known as cystinuria, a disorder that allows cysteine to leak into the urine. When too much cysteine is released into the urine, the stones form. Now that we're caught up on the types of kidney stones, how exactly do they form? The main reason kidney stones form is because the concentration of soluble salts in the urine is too much to dilute, causing crystallization. The initial formation of kidney stones is caused by a process called nucleation, meaning the factors that encourage the formation of crystals are more dominant over the factors that don't allow them to form, creating what is called a nidus. The nidus then travels down to the renal papilla within the kidney. Multiple niduses begin to stick together in a process known as aggregation. Then the newly formed stone latches on and remains in the kidney, continuing to grow. For an unknown reason, the kidney stone then deattaches itself and falls into the ureter. If large enough, the stones can cause structural damage. When stones either can't pass through the ureter or the bladder, medical treatment is required to remove them. A very popular treatment is extracorporeal shockwave lithotripsy, a generally safe treatment in which shock waves are created outside the skin. These waves break the kidney stones into smaller, easier to pass stones that don't require surgery. In worst case scenarios, kidney stones must be surgically removed by making incisions in the kidney and removing the stones with a probe. And honestly, this is pretty harsh to watch. Although that is basically it for the gist of kidney stones. These painful little bastards definitely have made a name for themselves, but modern day medicine has made them easier to deal with than ever before. Hopefully you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you've enjoyed my digital portfolio.